All right, let's jump right into wide receivers. Probably another one of the most important positions to find some sleepers at. Evan, who do you like there?
Kadarius Toney is still being drafted outside the top 36. Have you guys seen Kenny Gallaudet, the way he's been moving so far?
Slow.
And he's popping up with. I know Ray Vaughn's a Giants fan. Bless him. But Kenny Gallaudet is just all out of gas, and also having more hip problems, which has been an ongoing chronic problem for Kenny Gallaudet. He can't get open anymore. And he doesn't have a quarterback who can throw him open like he did in Detroit with Matthew Stafford. And Kadarius Toney, I mean, look, I like Wan'Dale Robinson, but Wan'Dale Robinson is a 5'7" rookie out of Kentucky. Kadarius Toney showed last year in very limited spurts that he could be a target hog, and that he could also be dynamic with the ball in his hands. So I think he's a guy to continue aggressively draft. Christian Kirk so far has shown a ton of rapport with Trevor Lawrence. We had Matt Harmon on the Establish the Run podcast, and Christian Kirk's reception perception was very impressive. He's a guy who can play inside and out. He's always been good with the ball in his hands. You go back to Texas A&M, he was an excellent return man, and now he's going to get the opportunity to catch, haul in a bunch of targets. I mean, I think he's got 120, 130 target potential. Robert Woods, I know, this type of guy is not generally perceived as like a sleeper, but he goes so late in drafts. Treylon Burks has been struggling so far in preseason and in camp, also struggling with injuries. Robert Woods has not. I mean, he's made an impressive recovery from his ACL injury, and I think that he could find a lot of rapport with Ryan Tannehill. And Chris Olave is still going outside of the top 36 in terms of ADP at wide receiver. The Saints paid a ton for this guy. And I think, if you look at the skill set of Jameis Winston and the skill set of Chris Olave, I think they have a chance to riff much more than Michael Thomas, who really plays on the interior. Chris Olave is a perimeter receiver. That's where Jameis throws the ball best.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, and Michael Thomas is hurt again too, on top of that. So we don't really know, we don't really know what's good with him, because sometimes you come back from like a serious, ankle injury, and then you're kind of overcompensating, and then other things kind of suffer. So yeah, I'm liking Olave more and more. And the Saints are just amazing at drafting. Like they found Michael Thomas, outside the first round. Olave's a guy who went in the first round, but not everyone thought he was going to go as high as he did. So I trust the Saints when it comes to wide receiver evaluation. John, what about you? Who do you like at wide receiver?
Yeah, so my draft strategy this year, once the top 36 are off the board, I better have 3 or 4 wide receivers. I'm not waiting at wide receiver necessarily. So once they're off the board, you need to be taking flyers to fill out your bench. So in the wide receiver 40 to 45 range, I love Drake London. He's my favorite rookie wideout. Unquestionably going to be the number 1 wide receiver for the Falcons. No doubt about that. I'm not scared about the knee injury. They're just being, cautious with him. And then I know Romeo Doubs, the hype is real. I believe in him, but I think Allen Lazard could benefit from having a guy like Doubs step up. I don't really consider Lazard a number 1 wideout. I'm really investing in him because of his touchdown upside. So I think Doubs may, take some of the defensive attention away from him. So I'm still getting Lazard in that 40 to 45 range. And then it goes without saying, Pickens and Doubs, we talked about this. They're the best kind of flyer to take. What are you going to do? Take Devontae Parker? We know what his ceiling is. It's not as high as these guys. So that's why I love taking flyers on them. The hype is real. And then 3 deeper flyers that I like to take are Nico Collins, Josh Palmer, and even KJ Osborne. Just Nico Collins, he looks like a lock to be the number 2 wideout now that John Mechie, unfortunately, is going to miss his rookie season. And I love, investing in Collins because I believe him as a rookie. I think he's going to break out this year. And the Texans are going to have to throw a lot. So I just love the situation for Collins heading into this season. And then Josh Palmer, I might have been a year too early on him. I really thought he was going to overtake Jalen Guyton as the number 3 wide receiver in this offense. I think that is going to happen this year. He has been showing out in preseason. So I love investing in a Justin Herbert any way possible. And Josh Palmer seems the cheapest way to do that. And then KJ Osborne, I mean, he finishes the wide receiver 38 last year. And in this new scheme under Kevin O'Connell, I expect they're going to be running even more 11 personnel So, he's a no-brainer in this wide receiver 75 to 80 range. So those are the three guys like targeting super late in drafts.
Have either of you guys talked yourselves yet into Sami Watkins?
No,
absolutely not. This is not a Sami Watkins podcast.
Feel free to pitch him. Is
Sammy
he going to stay healthy?
No, I mean, I don't know if he's going to stay healthy. He probably won't. He's already been hurt at one point in camp, but it does sound like, I mean, based on the beat writer reports, that Aaron Rodgers trusts him, wants him to be a starter in three receiver sets. He's not that old. I mean, he's not even 30 years old yet. I know we say this every year about Sami Watkins, but I mean, this is like his best opportunity in a while to really to have a chance to. I mean, and look, he kind of failed with Patrick Mahomes, although he would pop up for big games every once in a while, especially in the playoffs. They would call him Playoff Sammy. But I don't know, he's going to the 18th round, guys, of 20-man drafts. I'm willing to take him there.
Yeah, I mean, somebody's got to catch passes for this team.
Yeah, do you think he'll be sort of the MVS role in this offense? How do you see him fitting in?
I would rather him not be the MVS role, I think, because that's such a high variance role. Yeah. The Chiefs did use him like that at times. When he was in Kansas City, I don't know. I mean, I just think, at his age, no one wants to take him, including you, Sean. So, it's like, I'll take him in the 18th.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, if he stays healthy, he would definitely crush ADP there.
Yes, I mean, somebody's got to catch these passes, man. It's going to be, and Cobb is apparently a starter too, so we'll see what happens with that. But
right. They're the dustiest receiver core you've ever seen in your life.
And there's some bad ones too, but yeah, it's not. That's why we like Dobbs though. But yeah, I mean, I like Dobbs. Right. I think he's a guy, like, when you're drafting, like Sean said, you have to have your receivers locked in by the time like that top 36, top 40 is kind of off the board. Mm-hmm. So you're just looking for guys that you can eventually could be a number one target in an offense, or maybe a number two. And I think Dobbs, he's been targeted on 12 of his 29 routes this preseason. And that's exactly what you want. That's 41%. It's exactly what you want to see from a guy playing against mostly second and third stringers, because that means that he could be, a guy that gets, 20, 25%. When the real game starts. So I love him. I think George Pickens at 54, he's been targeted on 22% of his routes. He's been playing with the starters. And I think, he's been playing he played just as much as Claypool, when they kind of use their first team offense. So I think he has a real shot at being like the second most targeted player on the Steelers. And that's still, as good as he is with his talent, I think that's something that we want to see. And that could turn into, startable value, Evan, you mentioned Olave. I think he has a chance to be the most targeted Saints receiver if Michael Thomas continues to struggle with his injuries. So love him. And, Woods, Kirk, those guys that are in London, those guys that are kind of being their Tony even, guys that are their number one target. But, they're outside the top 36. I think you have to look at those guys. So.